All right, so good morning, everyone. Again, for those who are joining the live, my name is Rhonwyn, and I work for a not-for-profit organisation called Business Station. Business Station delivers the federal government program Digital Solutions, which is a wonderful program that I am always joyful to talk about because I think it's such a great program. So for any of you who don't know what Digital Solutions is, I will go through it a bit more at the end for you. But basically, it's the webinars and workshops that you've probably already been signing up for. But if you actually register, and I'll give you the link at the end to register, you only pay $44, and then you get three 1-hour advisory sessions with an expert. So it could be someone like me who deals with strategy and startups and content, things like that. Or it could be a social media expert or a Wix or a Shopify expert or an Amazon expert or Facebook or whatever. So just depending on what you need at this time. And that program also, a part of that program is for us to go through what you're doing with your business and see really where you should be focusing your efforts the most and what's going to help you the most. So like I said, beautiful program, love it. Every person who participates in this program is also kind of telling the federal government, the Australian government, yes, please support small business. So get on board. I'll tell you about it more at the end. But today, what we really want to focus on is not digital solutions, how to create 6 months of blog articles or articles in 1 hour. Now that sounds a little bit crazy. The first time I tried it, I thought, right, we're just going to give this a go. So I do not do this too often because I am a little bit of a perfectionist, and but I've written a whole book in this style. I do write articles in this style. I write posts in this style. And it really is just a way to kind of shortcut through. So it's really, really simple. And before we get started, I'm going to tell you that when I consider 6 months of blog articles or 6 months of articles, I am probably considering 6 really good media articles that you would put out once a month, and then you would create other content and marketing and repurposing around that. Okay. So there is other webinars and workshops that deal with the concept of repurposing. So if you don't know what repurposing is, it kind of means maybe you might take a video for 20 minutes or an hour, and then you chop it up, take quotes from it, steal, explanations and demos from it, take the audio, make it a podcast, take transcript and make it into mini articles. That's what repurposing is. It's taking one bit of really good content and then chopping it and reusing it in different places of the internet and offline so that you're getting the most out of your content, right? So a smart entrepreneur will probably write one really good article a month, and then you'll be using other people's content and repurposing content for the rest of the month so that you're not spending hours wasting away writing stuff that possibly isn't actually, while it feels good to share your knowledge all the time, it doesn't actually necessarily get you a result or an outcome for what you're doing in your business. So article writing is, I love writing articles. I write articles in magazines, and I write, I've done a couple on LinkedIn and things like that. So I'll tell you about different places you can put articles, and we'll have a bit of an exploration towards the end. But for now, I'll just tell you a little bit more about myself so you know that I'm not some random person. I know what I'm doing. So my name is Rhonwyn Learner, like Bronwyn, but with no B. I'm so busy it buzzes away. And learner because I'm a trainer by trade. So I love to learn. I love to teach. Okay. I've been doing business training as my trade for about 10 years. And I've been working with startups and small business for about 15 years. So this is definitely something that I'm passionate about. I'm really, one of my favorite conversations in life is really to talk to someone about their business and about their new business, which could be just only, less than a few years old, and kind of figure out, okay, what have you been doing so far, and how can we make sure that you're really profitable, and this is a positive experience for you and a passionate experience for you, and you're really making a great go at this. So, I think there's some of my favorite conversations because it's all about looking to the future and what could be and everything. But then we take that and we break it down and we plan it out and we get it into action. So that's kind of where I sit in this world. So I do run my own businesses as well. I do have my own training business that teaches business skills. I have a cybersecurity firm. I and I have some online businesses, you know, with affiliate marketing and things like that. So I like to dabble a bit myself. And certainly working for Business Station and doing digital solutions program is a real joy for me because it's absolutely in line with what I do. So that's me. So if you want to join Digital Solutions, please ask me as your advisor, because I'd love to talk to you more about your business, but absolutely up to you. Okay, so since this is a webinar, we're not in a live room, which would be nice, but you know, it also allows us to connect from all over Queensland or Northern Territory or WA, wherever you are. So if you would like to share and you'd like to meet the other people online today, please get into the chat, put in your like your name, your business name, what kind of business are you doing? And it also helps me just kind of understand a bit more about, you know, what kind of businesses and what kind of topics we might be going through today. Cats. All right. So let's get on to it. So you can pop that in the chat as we go and we'll come back to it. So when we're thinking about article writing, I just want to draw your attention into kind of a central point here, which is to keep in mind that article writing, you have to understand what the purpose of your article is, right? Because just like, you know, email marketing or, you know, well, emails in general, whether you're doing an email newsletter or an email customer follow-up communication or attraction, or like, well, what are we doing this for? All right, so here's you know, I probably show this slide a bit in my webinars and workshops because I think it just gives people a bit of a bing, 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 like, oh, I haven't tried that yet. What's that? So if there's anything on this list at the moment that you're looking at and you think, oh, I don't know what that is, just get in the chat and let me know and I'll explain it a bit more. But where we're looking at today, I want to explain that articles actually sit in multiple realms here. So article writing can be in grassroots. So grassroots is where we're doing a lot of organic marketing. So word of mouth is probably the most common one that we understand of grassroots, where you do a great job for someone and you encourage them to tell someone else and you get a testimonial or a review from them. You might go to networking. It's kind of a lot of free stuff. Definitely a lot of free stuff in grassroots. That's the whole thing. Or you might know it as bootstrapping. That's also another word a lot of people use, or lean marketing. But grassroots, as you can imagine, the whole idea of grassroots is you plant a little few seeds and then you see them grow. So you're not very hands-on with grassroots marketing so much as you're just encouraging word to spread. Yeah. So article writing does sit into this a little bit in the sense that you might collaborate with other businesses and other organizations to actually do articles for them or write content on their website or in their magazine or in their e-newsletter or whatever it might be. So articles can go into grassroots because it also adds to your credibility. Every time we speak about something that we are good at and that we have some credibility in, we're basically sharing that credibility and establishing that credibility with the outside world. So publishing an article which is sensible, well written, and appeals to a wide audience, not so much that a mass audience, right? So not everybody. We don't want our articles to try and fit into everybody's, you know, scope, because then it just becomes a bit of muddy nothing. So we definitely want to pin down what topics we're writing articles about, but we certainly do want to make sure that it's not so specific and you know, so left field that we're kind of leaving people out of the conversation as well, right? So collaborating with other people to write articles is a great way to kind of get a bit of balance in your writing as well, or what you're writing about. Advertising, it does come into advertising if you were, say, going to do what's called an advertorial. So an advertorial is where you place an ad, but it looks like a news article. So this is a quite standard practice in things like magazines and newspapers and print media. And of course, are there still print media? Yes, there's still plenty of print media. In fact, it seems to be making a comeback. I seem to be bumping into lots of people who are creating new magazines now, except the difference is they're probably printing on paper far less and making it more of an e-magazine. So the idea of we still like to kind of flick through pages and we like the layout of a magazine because it appeals to us. It's very aesthetically or you know, appealing to the eye, appealing to the the soul. No, that's too much, but you get the idea, right? So you can pay to place articles, and that, you know, that would kind of come under advertising. In terms of promotion, articles can come into promotion in the sense of, we'll go through this a little bit, in the sense of we might be doing an article as almost like a lead generation in order to say, hey, we've got something special going on. And this is, so International Women's Day is a prime example where we see a lot of articles as promotion. So people might be saying, hey, we're going to have an event for International Women's Day, or we're going to have a bit of a project after International Women's Day, or some sort of, you know, collaborative endeavor. And this means that we can kind of do an article about, you know, like, so for instance, next year's theme is break the bias. And so we might do an article about how we relate to that topic. And then it leads into, and we're going to have an event, and we're going to do a project, and da, 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 da. So it can lead into promotion. You certainly can use articles as lead generation and for promotion. So promotion, when we think promotion, we're really thinking about a purposeful campaign. That's kind of where promotion comes in, where it's like we might have a landing page, and there's a, you know, an article. So there's an article and a links to a landing page, and then the landing page, which is like a one-page website without any menus or anything, to say, hey, we're going to have an event. It's so wonderful. Click, 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 click. All right, moving on. And publicity, of course. So publicity really is the home of articles. So publicity is literally the sense of being in the public eye for publicity. That's kind of what the word means. And so we can frame it as news articles. We can have blogs. It can be newsletters. Also media releases. So the difference between a news article and a media release is kind of, it's kind of borderline, but a news article is really where you're just reporting the facts. So you might do that in a sense to build credibility, and the purpose of the article is really just to share newsworthy content. A media release is generally where you provide news about your organization, and your purpose is to get it into other media houses and media streams. So Dynamic Business or Sky News, or you can throw it onto Source Bottle or whatever you're doing with it to try and, you know, get some attraction to something you're doing. So it's a little bit different. So news article focus on a factual topic, and media release is more about, hey, look at us, and it's newsworthy, if that makes sense. And of course, database marketing. So what I said before, a little bit about partnering with someone and possibly providing newsletters for them, or you know, shared content across your databases, things like that. Okay, so we're very clear. This is kind of where articles sit. So an article and a blog are fairly similar. A blog kind of has taken on a slightly different format to what a traditional news article or magazine article would be, because when we write a blog, which means it's an article on our website, for example, there's a lot of digital things we need to include. So things like keywords to make sure that it gets found, making sure we do the titles correctly so that it's searchable on Google and other search engines, making sure there's links going out of the article, and hopefully links in cyberspace coming into my article, like coming to my article. And we do this not only to share our knowledge, but also to get attraction to our website to share our knowledge. So blogs and articles are very similar, but blogs maybe just the layout, format, and what the structure, I guess the structure really is a little bit different. All right, we'll talk about that a bit more as we go. All right, so where do we begin? Well, obviously you all have a type of business that you do, right? So I can't see that anybody's put it in the chat, but that's okay. So say you have a veterinary clinic. Well, I had to choose that one. A veterinary clinic, right? So what do you know about? Well, you know about caring for animals. And what is it that people would want to read about caring for animals? Well, they're probably not going to want to read about procedures, are they? Like if I'm a little fur baby parent, I'm not going to want to read articles about how a gallbladder was extracted from a schnauzer or something. Like that's probably not going to interest me that much. I don't care about the medicinal side. What I care about is how I care for my fur baby, and what care you can provide for my fur baby, and how to care for them better. So a vet or a veterinary doctor, would focus on writing articles that appeal to who you're going to talk to. All right. So it's a two-way street. It's not about us just like spewing our knowledge onto the internet. All right, which I've seen people do. I've seen a lot of article writing in the past, not in the past, but a lot of article writing from people who, you're starting at the beginning, and of course you write what you know, but that also means you kind of, it almost, when you read the article, it's like someone's being lectured. You're like, this is how it is, and you need to do this, and you need to do that, and this is what you should do, and da 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 da. So you have to be really careful with writing what you know, but also thinking about who is going to read it. So the first point we start with in article writing or blog writing is, what exactly are we doing here? Like, what is our business? And when I say what is our business, it is, what person or people or group do I serve, and what do they want from me? It's not about necessarily the skills I have and what I want to share, which is a different perspective. You got to really put your brain on and go, right, I want to think about who I serve and what do they want from me. Now, if you are unsure about this, or you're a little bit unclear, then I'd say just test it out. Try a few different article topics and see which ones get a little bit of attention. So when I say attention, it means that you might share the link to the article in an email to your email database. If you have it, even if it's only 100 people, whatever, if you're growing, you're just starting out. Or you might put it in some posts on socials and just see how many people actually click through. Because if people are attracted to that topic, they will want to check it out. Now, whether they read it word for word, the whole thing, that's another question. And we can look at that. There's another webinar on blog writing specifically that teaches you about how to do all the meta descriptions and the analytics and that. So today we're just focusing on writing. All right, so we've got something in the chat. Interior decorating, and someone else does a video. That's fantastic. I think I know who does video. So what from here? All right, so this is a very simple process that I follow. Okay, very, very simple. I'm trying to move my video. All right. Zoom, gotta love it. All right. So the process I'm going to follow is very, very simple. We're basically going to break down, keeping in our mind who we are, what we do, but more so, who are we serving and what do they want from us? We're going to come up with, first of all, we're going to come up with topics by theme. Okay. So it's really hard. And I find a lot of people get blocked to this, like, what do I write about? Yeah, that's a really good question. What do I write about? So you've got to take a logical process to this, is my best advice, and break it down by theme. So for example, we're in December at the moment for this, this version of the webinar. What are some obvious content and themes that come up in December every year without fail? Got a suggestion? Christmas. Yes, correct. Christmas and New Year's, of course, is the main theme at December. It also, if you're doing business to business, it could be the last push for sales for the year, or it could be, hey, use that downtime to get some videos done, or get your shop redecorated or your house redecorated. Well, probably not a house, you have everybody over. But if you're a business to business, and say, I'm like, you know what, I'm doing a studio here, and maybe I want a fresh look. So if December was actually my quiet time because all my customers are businesses, then this might be the perfect time to get stuff done. So the theme for December for you might not be Christmas. The theme for December might be more like, prepare for the new year, right? So think about your business environment, what your customers are looking for at this point for December, for the first month, and just make a bit of a note of it. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a very simple table that you can use, and you can add to this table as you go with your process. Okay, super simple, right? Simple table. You can pop this on a notepad. You can put it in on your, you can do it in your calendar. You could do it in, just on a piece of paper, or you could do it in a spreadsheet. This is just a table you can do in Word. Okay, so what we want to do is, now, for example, I've started from January because I've probably already got my content ready for December. But if I hadn't, December would be the first one I'd be looking at. And I say, right, so what is my monthly theme? Now I'm going to get out of this mode and go into editing mode so we can actually type in this for a little bit. So say it's January, we're coming up. All right, so what happens in January? Well, we've got Australia Day in January. We've got fresh start for the new year. So a lot of, you see similar themes come up in January throughout tabloid TV and magazines, which is going to be like fitness, weight loss, starting fresh, looking for work. It's all this kind of stuff, right? Starting new campaigns, strategy for the year. January is all about new beginnings. That's kind of where we're at with January. So if it's the monthly theme and we take my business and my business helping startups with, how to get started and make more profit and things like that, I might say January, my theme is going to be new beginnings. And that's all I'm going to write. February, we're getting into the month of romance and Valentine's Day, right? But also it's the time where, okay, we've shook off the December slowdown. And for me, I might be like, well, February is more about kind of putting a boost for your business. So February might be like boosting sales, or it could be, or I might move that. Oh, you know what? I might do that in March. So for February, maybe I'll do how to generate campaigns. Yeah. Now, obviously, I'm just plucking these themes just out of my general operating environment of what people are kind of doing during these times. April is usually about Easter. So Easter, again, is another time of slowdown where people, and school holidays and that, where people are like, even if they run a business, for me, a lot of people who run businesses are parents as well and families. So I do find December, everyone's out. April, everyone's out. And all the school holiday times, everyone's out. So I always run my courses basically to match school terms, because I know that that's when I'm going to get the most captive audience, where people are absolutely looking at their business and they don't have like a 12-year-old hanging about the house asking for snacks while they play Xbox. But in saying that, you can get more clever about this. So if I wanted to change it up and be really sales focused, right, and thinking about the purpose of my articles, if my articles was to get sales, then I'd be matching my article themes with course launches and program launches and marketing campaigns and promotions that are going on, right? So for example, if I was doing, let's take this back, if I was doing videography, I might say, well, in January, it's about, might be about building social media, right? And I might have a matching campaign for social media video package, right? Yeah. So my theme for January will all be about, if I'm a videographer, it might be like, right, we're going to focus on people who want to, start the year with their social media and build their tribe and really get onto it this year. So they're going to want to do it from the start of the year, probably. So let's get onto that and let's look at booking people in to really start to get all their photos and images, graphics, but also videos for social media posting. And if they're smart, they book a social media video package where they can do little snippets of video or a one big long train video that they can cut up and edit and use for like the next 6 months, say, just like we're doing here. So when you're writing your article, if it's purely for sharing your knowledge and building credibility, I would probably link it to things that are happening in the external world, where in January, people are looking at new beginnings, and that's the kind of stuff they're searching for online, right? So then my article will happen to come up, and it'll attract some traffic and some notice to my business, right? So that might be what I focus on my themes by just attraction and branding and credibility, right? But like I said, alternatively, if it is to gain sales, then think about what campaigns you're going to run for the next 6 months, and you're going to have articles that lead into that. So for January, social media video package, and we're going to have article on how do you effectively build social media using video. So you can do reels and quick stories, but video posts and YouTube, of course, all that kind of stuff, right? February, March, April, May, June, it's up to you. As a videographer, for example, you might be looking at, just thinking about your top clients and what do they use. I don't want to lay out someone's, potential social media strategy here, article writing strategy here. But at the same time, think about like, what can you do over the next 6 months to bring in sales? Because at the end of the day, I had a discussion with someone about this the other day, but in my mind, running a business is still about making profit. Because if you don't have profit, you cannot sustainably keep running your business, right? So writing articles is really nice, but I would really encourage you to think about how an article topic links back into what you're doing in your business to serve your customers and sell to your customers. Because remember, if you don't ask for a sale, then you're really kind of neglecting your customers to let them buy from you. That's one way to look at it. You know what I mean? You've got something really special to offer. So make sure you are pushing sales so that they do have the opportunity to buy from you. All right. So I'm going to come back here again. So we've got a few themes, right? Make sure they're in line with what you know. Okay. So don't put down how to, launch a YouTube channel if you yourself have never done it before. You can, but you're going to have to do a lot of research, and this is not a 6 articles in 1 hour kind of gig, right? So if you choose something that you don't know straight out of your brain, you're going to go back to the typical sitting in front of your computer, typing it out, thinking about it, doing research and finding that, what's that, and I don't know what a hashtag is, and collecting to research for a proper article, which is the traditional method, but it's the time-consuming method, okay? So pick what you know that serves your customers and gets them, that they are looking for to know from you. Now, the second thing is we're going to break it down into working titles. So we're going to consider the most requested information, or more importantly, the most asked questions that you get in your business, okay? So remember that when we're writing blogs and articles, we're most likely going to post them online. And when we post them online, people are ideally going to search for them online. All right, so I'm just going to open a web page. Hang on a sec. Actually, I might just gonna make sure I get the right web page and I don't have anything. Website's going to show you. Now, I'm used to sharing my whole screen, so please forgive me if I end up switching between programs and I don't take you with me. Please, someone tap me in the chat room. All right, we'll come back to that one. So, for beginners, what on earth are we going to write about for our theme? So, if our theme was, for example, how to do social videos, and for the interior decorator, please, if you'd like us to try a topic, please throw it in the chat and we'll do that. So I'm going to say how to make okay. So I'm not going to type out the whole question, but you see what's happening here with Google? We're looking at kind of predictions, aren't we? So Google is a very clever company and a very clever program. You know, the whole point of Google is to collate information and share it with other people. It's to help you find each other on the internet, basically, in a nice way. So Google every year improves itself. And one of the things it does is it tries to say, oh, is this what you're looking for? Is this it? Is this it? Is this the one? So it's going to give me, it's giving me what, about 10 different things that I might be searching for. Now, this is not random. Okay, to be very clear, this is not random. This comes from Google researching your searches. So every time I type in how to make a social media video, excuse me, it gets collated and added to the tally and the statistics of people want to look for that. So if I wanted to write an article as a working title, I'd probably say, well, this is something I know about. It's coming up as predictive. I might make an article that's titled How to Make Social Media Videos. Or if I just go social media icons, apps, platforms, manager, marketing, social media questions to ask. So if this really linked back to what I'm doing for people, how I'm helping them, which might be a matter of thinking to myself, well, I'm a videographer, for example. I want to do a campaign on social media to provide and film video for social media for a company, right? Their social media, not mine. People might be searching social media marketing. Like, how do I do social media marketing? And then you might write a topic that's like top 10 tips for social media marketing, which might highlight video as number one. Get where I'm going? And then you can expand on that. So again, you have to know about the topic. Otherwise, it becomes research-based and it's not a 1-hour gig, okay? What else can I do? I can just go video. Okay, video funny dog costumes. Well, this is from my searching because I have kids. So we're looking up something. Anyway, video editor, video games, video editing software. Okay, so perhaps I know a lot about video editing software and I might do an article on best video editing software to use, which you might be sitting there going, no, Rhonwyn, I don't want them to use a video editing software. I want them to use my services. But think about it. They're searching for it anyway. All we're going to do is educate them on some programs they can use. And look, if we're a little bit realistic, if they want to do a professional level video editing, they're probably going to use Premiere Pro or something like that, which is not cheap. And it's an investment both in time to learn and money to buy, which brings them back to the idea of, oh, maybe I should just get someone else to do it for me. Ding, 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 ding. Yep. So think about what things are they. So let's just click on video editing software and see what comes up. Oops. All right, so what else is done? So when we come in here, we've got video editing software. Now you can see at the top, we've got ads. So if you wanted to invest in ads, Google ads, there's whole workshops and webinars we have on how to do that in digital solutions programs. So you can investigate that. We come down and there are some videos. So Google did buy YouTube, and YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world after Google. Google's still number one. Google search is still number one, but it has videos now because it bought YouTube. And so there's some suggestions, but here we've got people also ask. So this is another place where Google is saying to us, hey, is this what you wanted to ask, right? Which gives us another example of what maybe our title for our article could be. Now, why do we do that? Why are we going to Google to see what people are searching for in terms of questions, right? Think about it. When you have a question because you have a problem that you need solved, yeah, you're probably not going to be going through your social media feed, like randomly looking at posts because you're trying to solve a problem and therefore potentially buy a service. You're probably going onto Google or a search engine of your choice, no preference here, sorry. Or you're going onto YouTube, or you're going onto some other forum or community to get recommendations or direction or to get an answer, right? So this is where we go when we have a problem that needs to be solved. And depending on how bad that problem is and how desperately we need it solved, will kind of encourage whether those people who find our article and come and see us are willing to convert into a paying customer. Okay. So which is the best video editing software? Now, what you can do is you can look at how old this article is. So this is 23rd of November. That's very recent. What do YouTubers use to edit their video? Does that have a date? So Google also wants to show the most highest quality, best answer to the questions, right? So all the suggestions it has here are like the top search results for that particular question it is showing you. What you can do is just have a look through these and see how old is that article. Because if that article is more than a couple of years old, ding, 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 ding. Sorry, I need sound effects. Then you can absolutely go, right, I'm going to write a fresh article on that, because that's probably what Google will want. It'll be like, well, this one is a couple of years old. The algorithm is smart enough to know that. So great. Faye or Kristen or someone has written a new article about something, and we're going to show that instead, because it seems to have some links going in, some links going out. It must be all right quality, seems to follow everything, blah, 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 blah. All right. So this is how we come up with our working titles. Sorry, there is another website I want to show you. Now, I got this website from Dale Beaumont, who also runs a very exceptional business program, the Business Blueprint. I'm not selling anything, but I respect to the man. He does a really good program, and he showed me this this website. Now, this is an American website, as a lot of them are, because they're just prolific over there. But you know, what are people asking about? So if I put in here decorating, I feel like I'm going to have to put interior decorating, or else I'm going to be in trouble. End up with cake or something. All right, so in English, data from the 7th of December. Now, this is more advanced. Don't feel you have to do this, okay? It's just if you're really struggling for what to write about. Come down here, and it's got some what look like decision trees on what sort of things people ask about. So where to study interior decorating, where to start interior decorating, where can I study, da, da, da. So that's the where questions. Whoops. How to do interior decorating, how much does interior decorating cost, how to start interior decorating, how to learn it, how to start a business in it, how to interior decorating. That doesn't sound useful at all. How does it work, what kind of style am I, right? So there's some good questions in there that you might go, oh, okay, so people are searching and asking for this stuff. So where does this data comes from? It comes from the internet. So they also skim the internet for what questions are being asked across search platforms and forums and all sorts of other private databases, public databases, shall I say. And you can download it as a comma separated spreadsheet. So it's basically an Excel, just type of Excel, and you can get it in a spreadsheet. It looks like crazy town when you open it in a spreadsheet for the first time if you're not used to spreadsheets. So I'd say just kind of have a look at here at the visual. It's kind of nice. And this will give you some other examples of topics. Now, again, so interior decorating with plants, with corrugated tin, with blue mirrors, right? So you can get the idea like, okay, this could be interesting. Now, if I go back to Google and I go interior decorating for the living room, well, let's have a look what it says. "55 best living room decorating ideas." Okay. Thank you, PC, that wants to go into battery saver because I've been working since 6 a.m. There we go. 900 plus room interior design ideas for 2021. Well, that's Pinterest, so that's a little bit different. That's like probably 900 plus different people posting ideas, so that you don't even try and compare with that. 20 living room design mistakes, 70 stunning living room ideas. That's going to be probably a whole bunch of photos. We've got images, right? Okay, so we've got lots of different article types. If you notice something about these articles, what do they have in common? Maybe pop it in the chat, make sure you're still with me. What are you noticing that these articles that are at the top of the search rankings, what do they have in common? What are they all doing as an article online? Some ideas. Number lists. That is correct. Look at this. 900, 20, 70, 55, 75, 31, 50. Like an auction. All right. And the other style you'll see, which they've covered it here, which is 7 steps. So some of the most popular articles online either give a very much listing kind of articles, which for you who wants to be a serious article writer, you might be like, oh man, that sounds terrible. You know, and the first time I saw that, like a few years ago, when I was like, oh, this is really gaining traction, this whole listing thing. But we do it ourselves, don't we? When we search for something, we don't want to read someone's 1,000 word article where they're just kind of showboating themselves on how wonderful they know this topic. We couldn't care less. And it's something to take on board as some advice in your article writing as well. We don't want War and Peace. We don't want, you know, the phone book of, of the topic, right? I'm time poor. You're time poor. My kids are time poor. My dog is time poor, right? We don't have time these days. We want short, sharp, list style articles that I can go bang, 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 bang. It's kind of almost compared to if you're ex-corporate or whatever, you know, when you write a report, you'd have something called an executive summary, right? So an executive summary is like a 1-pager that summarizes the key points from the 120 pages behind it, right? This is the kind of article we want to see online, okay? So this is very different to academic writing and tertiary writing and things like that. It's you know, it's not a feature in a magazine or something. We're looking at articles between about 300 and 600 words. So if you aim for about, you know, 400 words, 500 words, you're in the middle there, you're probably doing pretty well. Now, different people will say different numbers, but honestly, if you're going over 600 words, like you're kind of going to lose people, right? They have to be so engaged with what you're talking about and so desperate for a fix to keep up with you at 650, 700, 800 words, right? Because we're not, I don't think humans are kind of made to look at screens for that long, unless it's like a Kindle and it's got a lovely, you know, backlit kind of, you know, book imitation, right? We like paper, and we don't like so much contrast and light and everything. And more than anything, we just get bored. So keep it simple, keep it kind of list worthy. So you're looking at the top 5 or 5 steps, 5 mistakes, 5 must-haves, 5 must-dos, 5 places you can film. You know, 5, I'm just using the number 5 as an example, but you can obviously pick any number you like. And it used to be like you go up to a top 10. Seeing 900 there, I'm a bit like, okay, they're getting a little bit over. But 75, I don't think I've yet seen an article that says 55 or 75 in it. Like, that is just horrendously long. And I think what you'll find is if we click on that, chances are it's literally going to be like a bullet point list. It's not going to be 150 to 100 words 75 times, right? Just, you know, we can check it, but I'm just saying it's not ideal. Now, so think about your list. Now, I'm just going to go back. So Answer the Public just gives you some other ideas as well, of things that people are genuinely going out and trying to find answers to and know about. There's also an alphabet. Now, this is free to use, but you only get about 3 searches per day or per week or something. So don't waste it. Don't go in there and just start slamming out different things. If you are going to keep changing your search, then download the Excel each time. And I think they track it by your IP address on your actual device. So I've tried doing it in different browsers and it doesn't work. But if I go on my other computer, then I can get another batch of searches. When I was in economist 20 years, very used to writing academic reports. Yeah, now shifting to top 6 style blogs for my interior design business. Yeah. Sorry, did you say interior design or interior decorating? Interior decorator, interior design. No worries. Yeah, thank you, Eva. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just like, because it's gone from we are so wonderful and we know so much to blah, look at this. Like flash in the pan. So yeah, so think about your articles in that way. But this is good news, because what this means is it simplifies our process even more. All right, we are coming to the end, because the thing we need to really look at is how do we get through this? Okay, so we've got topic ideas, break it down into working titles, which we have now, and then we're going to chunk it up into sub questions. So this step number three is where we say, right, I've got my working title, which you might keep it as that title. Working title just means this is what I'm naming this article before I get to the end and finalize. Because once you finish an article or a book or whatever you're writing, you might look back at it and go, oh, that's not really the main theme here. Or I don't think anybody's going to read about how to put my cushions in a starfish shape or something. Like, they really want to know what is the best cushion configuration for the bed. I'm making that up. Please don't, please don't put that in your ask. So chunking it up into sub questions. Now I want to be really, really clear here. You notice that I'm not saying subtopics or subtitles. I'm saying sub questions. Okay, this is for the writing process, but you could leave it as this. So what I've found in experience of writing things is that if I put a statement or a heading, like, so say it's the top 10 living room ideas, and I might say like a Hamilton style, I'm not interior decorating, gardening, interior decorating, I'm lost. Okay, but well, I'll try my best. So say it's something like Hampton style living room, and as part of your top 10 best design styles of the 21st century, whatever, or ones that last the test of time. So if I put Hampton style as a new article, like top 10 tips to get the Hamptons look, if I just put as a subtitle living room, then I'm going to sit in front of my computer or in front of my device and just go, blank, 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 blank. What am I going to write about? So my tip to you is pose it as a question, right? So if we've got 300 to 600 words and we know that we're going to do a sort of list style, so it might be that you do put it as a top 10, and you can easily write 50 words under each of those or 40 words under each of those. Very, very simple. But if you are writing an article that is more like steps or, more like authority sharing, then you probably are going to have to pose it as sub questions, in which case you don't say, what defines a Hamptons look? That is a question. And then if someone was to ask me that question as an interior decorator, not as a business trainer, then I might go, then I can naturally answer that question. Does that make sense? So then I'd be like, right, I'll repose the question. Okay, to get the Hamptons look, the greatest thing you can do is da, 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 and I talk or, write for about 50 words. So coming back to this, all right, I'd say at the very best, just do 3 sub questions. If you think that you're going to dribble on, just start with 3. You know what I mean? And then you can cut it back. If you think, actually, I'd rather make a list of 10, and then that way I know I'm only going to say something or write something very, very quick, then do that, okay? So you're going to break it down for each of these. Whoops. So each of these, you come up with a working title from your search. You're going to come up with sub-questions from brain, okay? So this is where your knowledge comes in, because it has to be your own spin, right? So this to be a genuine article from you, your sub-questions and the breakdown of what exactly you're going to talk about for this topic, this is all from you, okay? And then we've got a call to action. So what is a call to action? Most of you probably have heard of this before. Call to action, or a CTA, is like, okay, if I am going to think sales and I do have a video package that I want to sell, then the call to action is probably on the journey to buy that. So if it's a $10,000 package or a $20,000 package, I'm probably not going to link that from the article and go, hey, it's only $20,000. Come, you've never seen me before. You don't know anything about me, but come and check out my $20,000 package. It doesn't really work like that. First, we have to build a credibility and familiarity, and then that turns into trust. And the quickest way to get trust and to get them on a purchasing journey is probably to take them to something really, really simple. So it could be to have a one-to-one chat with you to learn more. That might be the call to action. Call us and we'll go through this strategy with you for your business. Yep. Or it could be, and that is the simplest, best thing you can do, is make it a call to action for them to contact you, okay, to make an action to engage with you. A less confronting one, because I think Dale Carnegie organization has done research on this in the last few years, and the number one fear has shifted from public speaking to face-to-face, like one-to-one conversations. We're so much online at the moment that the idea of picking up the phone and calling someone is actually a little bit nerve-wracking for a lot of people now. So your call to action, if they're online, right, they didn't call you, they've come to an article, they've come to a website, they're doing online research. So it probably even makes a natural progression to say, hey, here's a link and we can send you a whole ebook or a check sheet, a cheat sheet or a template or something. It's what we call a lead magnet, some sort of digital product that we can send to them. And that way we get their contact details, their email address, and we can build from there. Okay. Otherwise, you might be using articles for affiliate marketing. So affiliate marketing, I know we're getting to the time, and I'm going to show you the last bit very quickly. Affiliate marketing is where I might have an individual link for a product I'm promoting. So you might just be an affiliate marketer for Amazon, and you're like, hey, here's a book about this, and when you're ready, we have a course on it, or here's a recommendation for a product. So Amazon isn't just books, obviously. So if you're an interior decorator, it might be like, here's the cushions I was talking about on Amazon. You can go buy it right now. And that link is a special link that Amazon goes, oh, that was Kristen. We're going to pay her 10% or 20%. I think it's 10%. So someone buys $100 in cushions and you get $10. And that was from your article. And $10 doesn't sound much, but if 10 people do that, that's $100. If 100 people do that, that's $1,000. And all you did was put in a link from an article that's going to be searched on Google, which will show people your business anyway, right? See where I'm going? So what is the call to action? So it could be email list or callback or lead magnet X, whatever it is. And then links. So I might include Amazon link to lighting ring. Yeah. So people want it. Maybe you're talking about having a little DIY setup, and then you're gonna and then also editing services, something like that. You know what I mean? So think about what you're going to include. All right, now I know what you're asking me is like, that's nice, Rhonwyn. We have 6 topics. Thank you very much. Now, how do we write them in an hour? Very good question. I'm glad I was here to ask it. I'm sorry. So I don't like webinar style either much. So do put in any questions you have, put them in the chat, or put them in the Q&A, please, and I will answer them, no problem. So anybody here a speed typer? So I can type pretty quick because I've had to do a lot of typing in my day. And it was the moment in high school where they said, do you want to learn typing? I was like, no, I'm not going to learn typing. And then I got to uni and I was like, oh my God, I should have learned typing. So I have this kind of weird typing style, which gets me the results. I can type very, very quickly, but I still cannot type as fast as I talk. And I want to really impress on you the importance of this element in writing articles and content. Most people cannot type as fast as their brain and mouth work. That's the bottom line. So, who here has a smartphone? Raise your hands. I cannot see you. Just kidding. You probably, most of you have a smartphone, right? Yeah, Faye, raise your hand. Nice one. Thanks, Faye. So, most people have a smartphone. Even if you don't, you really can get a smartphone very cheap. I think Coles, post office, places like that, you can get a smartphone for like $50 on sale these days. They're very cheap. And all you need is a smartphone with, say, the Android operating system, which is actually the Google operating system for a phone, okay? Which, if you don't know what an operating system is, this is digital skills building. An operating system is basically the bottom base foundation program inside any device. So a computer, a laptop, a phone, a tablet. It's the brain, it's the program that is the brain that tells the computer how to play other programs and that, right? So Android is the one that Google made, and because I think they give it out for free, or it's, you know, they have a lot of arrangements, it's on a lot of phones, right? So if it's not an Apple phone, it's probably got Android, or Microsoft is the other one. But what they do have is something called speech to text, and actually a lot of laptops have speech to text too. So if I come back to the internet, where am I? So I'm going to go speech to text. Okay, now there are transcription programs. So if you don't have speech to text on your phone, or you can't find it on your computer, Otter AI is a very popular one. I do find it's not very accurate, and I think that's probably because I haven't used it as much as I should. So something to know about speech to text is that they are usually learning programs. So the first few times you use them, you'll be like, this is rubbish. Okay, but then once you do it half a dozen times, you'll be like, right, okay, I'm getting the swing of how to speak to it, and it is learning the most common words I use as well. So when I correct the speech to text, you're telling the speech to text, she meant this word. So manager, not mangy, things like that. You can also do voice to text on Microsoft. And I think this came out because Microsoft bought Xbox. So when all the gamers were online, suddenly all your Microsoft operating systems and your laptops could do screen recording and speech to text and all these other wonderful things. Microsoft shortcuts. If you haven't never seen this page, it's going to blow your mind. Microsoft keyboard shortcuts. So you know how you can do Control-C for copy and Control-V for paste, right? There's actually hundreds of shortcuts. So see all 10 keyboard shortcuts. Okay, this is not the right page. There's actually lots of them. But not so much mind-blowing, is it? Okay, hang on. Okay, this is it. All right, so you can see there's a lot more. Now, where are we? So I'm actually going to use this. Now, I feel like this wasn't here last time I was here, but anyway. I'm going to do Control F, which is one that does find. It's coming to the bottom of my page there. I'm going to go speech. No. About voice. No. Text. Highlight the text. That's that. Okay. Yeah, I feel like last time I was in here, it wasn't here either, so maybe they've removed it. But that's okay. It doesn't actually matter because you saw that there's lots of actual free programs that will do it. So Google Cloud, you can do it in the Google Cloud as well. Yep, so you can get that on your computer. Again, another free program. Try it free. So, and then you can, I think it's like a few dollars a month if you want it. So what does it do? It's literally on your phone. You can test it out in either a notepad little app icon on your phone, or in text messages, you'll see it as well. So what happens is the keyboard shows up and then a little microphone icon comes up. In Perth, need to get back to school. Thanks, very interesting. No problem, Amber. Thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, we're going a few minutes over time. Yeah, so we're going to use speech to text. So literally, I've written a whole book on speech to text because it's so much faster. The language is more natural, more conversational, and all I do is you can even get like a Word app or a document processing app on your phone, and you can type it straight into a document, and then you just email it to yourself and open it up on your computer, which is the easiest way if you're not very digital savvy. Like, there's lots of other ways to share files between your phone and your computer, but you can just email it to yourself. That's fine. And then you can write your article. So how long does it take to write an article? So if we come back, excuse me, if we come back to this table, if I know my business, I know what campaigns or what I want to focus on in the next 6 months, this can be very, very quick. If you need a bit more time, it might take a little bit of time, but honestly, forcing yourself to be very decisive with it is a great idea. So thinking about what happens in the next 6 months, what campaign would I like to run, or what product or program or service would I like to focus on, make that your hero of the month, and then build your monthly topic theme around that. Do a little online search for some working titles. Now, obviously, if you're smart, you will keep this table in, like, save it to your computer, and don't just copy one working title from your search. Copy like 6, and then you can later down the track avoid the searching, so you can get it even faster. It's always good to do a little bit of a search. So you might just search and check that that is actually still desirable topic at that time, because say you're rotating your topics every 6 months. So I might choose 6 themes, write 6 articles, and then from July to December, I might actually do pretty much the same themes if I want, and then just choose a different working title, a different topic to within the theme, right? Or you might rotate it every 12 months. So you might have a 12-month campaign schedule. We go January through to December. These are the programs or the products we focus on, or what we're building attraction to or credibility in, or whatever it is, partnerships, events, whatever you got going on. 12 months. And you know, in December, I'm going to write the articles for January through to June. And in June, I'm going to write the articles for July through to December, ready to go, pre-scheduled, all the rest. Now, this webinar was simply about writing it. So we're following this simple process of generate a theme, break it down into titles, chunk it up into sub-questions. Then we're going to use speech to text on any device accessible to you. If you don't have a device with speech to text, then you can use Google Cloud or Otter AI, or any simple program that says, or even voice transcription, voice to text, speech to text. These are the things you search. And then you should have 6 articles, which you will have to come back on your computer and tweak, but it probably takes me about 10 minutes to come up with my 6-month lineup and fill out that table, right? 15 at a push. But actually, you can talk out 300 words in about 5 minutes, maybe 10. It really is not very, doesn't take very long. So you really can get this done in an hour. And then when it's time to schedule that article, you just do a final proofread over it, and you're going to add all the other, depending on where you post it. So if it's on your website, it'll be a blog, and you can go to the other webinar about how to write effective blogs, which will tell you how to do all this jargon that I'm going to tell you, which is like meta descriptions and feature image, and, and you know, is it on a post? Is it on a static page? Like, where are you putting it on your website? Okay, so I said that's the other website. That's the other webinar to go to, and I can if you want me to send you the link to that, I can just put it in the chat or send me an email. And then there's other third-party sites like Medium, Dynamic Business, you can just search for articles, web articles, or article websites, and you'll come up with a whole bunch. So I'm not going to list all of them here because it really depends on your industry, right? But always when you are putting articles out into third-party websites, keep in mind that it's with them, and you will absolutely be listed as the author. Make sure that you are put as the author, and there is a bio, like a little blurb about you, and a link to how people can find you. So if you go on third-party websites to put an article, got to have your name, got to have your, a little bit about you, and got to have a link to your website or LinkedIn or something to find you, okay? That's the 3 things you've got to have when you go to other people's websites. You can make it into a newsletter. So you might have a monthly article, and then you send an email to your database, electronic direct mail, and it says, hey, everybody, this month's article is about this. Click here to read it. And I would always put it in my website and get them to click through, because then you can actually see in your data on the back of your email program, like MailChimp or MailerLite or Vision 6, which is Queensland. I love Vision 6. They're a fabulous program. It'll tell you how many people opened this email because of the title of, hey, best Hampton secrets or video for social media. And then it'll tell you how many people clicked to go and read it, okay? So you need that data, because if you continually do articles that people don't want to read, that's important to know. And you can do it as a post. So you can do a whole article as a post, like a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post or something like that. More likely, you probably put the article, house it somewhere, like you might make it a LinkedIn article. And I've got that underneath social articles. And then you might do a post every week talking a little bit more about that topic and linking back to the article. Okay. So that's it for today. It's a very simple process, right? Super simple, so simple. Be like, why didn't I think of that? Or I already think of that. The key is scheduling it in. So from here, as homework, I would super encourage you to go to your calendar, which you should have as a business owner, a working calendar for a diary or something, and schedule in an hour, probably 2 if it's your first time and you're figuring it out. Always double it for first time you do things, double. So 2-hour block to be like, right, I'm going to follow the process. I might have to refer back to the webinar recording, which you're going to get later. And I'm going to pause it when I need, and I'm going to do that table, and I'm going to draft it out. And then I might need a few extra minutes to get a good speech to text and get it going, and then do a little editing. Okay. And that's it. But definitely schedule it in so that you go and practice it. And I would do it sometime in the next week, to be honest, if you have time, or even straight after this. That way you know that you will go and apply what you learned, because it doesn't really sink in until we give it a go. All right, so the Digital Solutions Program, just to tie it all back together. Thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for those who stayed a few minutes extra for the last bit. But remember, you will get the recording for this. The Digital Solutions Program, if you're not involved already, only $44, and you'll get workshops and webinars that we prescribe for you and go, hey, I think you need to go learn this because of this. And you get 3 of those one-to-one sessions to go through things. And one of them could be a really nitty-gritty troubleshooting style, where it's like, great, I've learned about blogging and article writing and posting and that, and it's just not working for me. So I want to talk to someone who specializes in that to figure out what I need to change. So very, very high value. If you want to register, you can go to businessstation.link/register. Okay. Or you can do /Rhonwyn, RHONWYN, if you'd like to have me as your first one-to-one session. I'd be very honored. The other criteria, unfortunately, if you're out of town, I'm really sorry, you have to make sure that you are in either Queensland, Northern Territory, or Western Australia. In Australia, you must have an ABN registered to qualify. You must be a for-profit business, but if you are a not-for-profit, please just get in contact with Business Station directly, so businessstation.com.au, and you must employ fewer than 20 full-time equivalent staff. Okay, so this is genuinely for small business, funded by the Australian government, delivered by Business Station, and yours truly, Rhonwyn Lerner. Thank you so much for joining us today, and like I said, you'll get a recording for this afterwards. And if you have any other questions, please just get in contact with us. We're happy to help. All right. Have a great day. Thank you so much, guys.